Welcome to another episode of This Is Unusable. I'm doing it by myself this time. All right, here we go. I don't go to McDonald's very often, but I feel so shitty sometimes that it feels like I went to McDonald's. I just had a normal-ass day, ate normal-ass food, but I feel like I just got back from McDonald's. Maybe that's part of aging now, is it doesn't matter how healthy you eat, you still feel like crap. I had one coffee the other day, and I was like, what is wrong with me? I'm going insane. I guess that's not really McDonald's, that's just caffeine. That's something I figured out about caffeine is when you're young, caffeine gives you energy. When you're old, caffeine gives you anxiety. Caffeine used to make me all talkative, and I'd start smiling and feeling like life was all right. And now it just turns me into this ball of stress. I'm just sitting there in my stupid little car, my stupid little Volkswagen Golf, and I look totally normal on the outside, and on the inside I'm just gripping the steering wheel for dear life. You know, the vein is bulging out in my neck. I'm like, how is it possible that only an extra 3 sips of this coffee I had is making me feel like my entire life is crumbling around me? I feel insane. How is this possible? It's like you have this hard limit now of how much energy you can have. You should try to get it organically by like exercising every day, but you know, I'm weak. We're all weak. You get it from caffeine sometimes, and now the caffeine is telling me, Ben, you are taking a shortcut. This isn't working out, man. I can't do this for you anymore. You got it. Yeah, the caffeine talks with a Chicago accent. Is that even a Chicago accent? I don't know, but God, I used to love caffeine. I used to love how it made me feel okay, you know, albeit briefly. You know, there's always that come down afterward. Now it makes me feel very much not okay at all. And that is not okay. It's pissing me off. The things I used to rely on in life, I can't rely on anymore to make me feel all right. I'm just going to have to feel like shit all the time. Is that what getting older is? Is that what happens now now that I'm like 37 years old? I can't believe I'm even. Like when I say it out loud, it doesn't make sense to me. That does not make any sense. I don't know. The COVID pandemic was like 5 days ago. That's what it feels like. I was in my early 30s, and now here I am 6 years later, nothing to show for it. Absolutely nothing except this podcast. This is unusable. Oh my God. This podcast that we had 32 subscribers. And then with the most recent episode we put out, it went down to 31 subscribers. So that's where we're at right now, to the 32nd subscriber who unsubscribed. Well, they probably weren't the 32nd subscriber. They were the, I don't know what number subscriber they were. I don't know. Did I say something sexist? Did I say something mean? Please come back. I apologize. I am so sorry for whatever stupid thing I said that made you unsubscribe. I deeply apologize. You can have my head. You can have my stupid bolt. Here's a full top-down image of my dumb bald head. Just look at it. See this? At least you'll never have to deal with this. Look upon this moonscape that is my head. Look at this thing. Okay, I'm just begging you, from one bald person to presumably a person with hair, please resubscribe. Please resubscribe. I'm begging you. You have no idea how much money we lost. I'm just kidding. We lost no money because we don't make any money off of this podcast. So that's great. That's great. Thank you for unsubscribing. You know what? You were just a minor, a stumbling block. What's the phrase? You're just a minor fork in the road? No, that's not it. You're just a minor little thing that we're going to have to deal with on our way to 35 subscribers, okay? So we're down 1, and now we're at 31 subscribers. We can make it to 35. You know, at this rate, we'll probably have 35 subscribers in about 2 years. It'll happen. It's going to happen. I can't wait for it. Anyway, a little bit about me. Is the audio peaking? I don't care. I can't keep track of this. I'm just holding this microphone because I need to be able to stand to do this, or else I completely lose focus again because, I don't know, I'm getting older. When I sit, like when I let gravity take me, which I love doing, by the way. Like, I don't identify as one sex or another. I identify as a person who sits down. That's my love language, is sitting. When I sit and I let gravity take me, oh, ravage me, gravity, please, just turn me into a blob. When I sit, my brain goes silent and I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say as it is, but at least I am I am pushing against my inevitable eventual downfall. You know, my grandfather's 98 years old. He can't walk anymore, and that's, if I'm lucky, I'll get to a point where I can't walk anymore. If I'm lucky. I don't know. I think I've got too much visceral fat here to make it to 98. I'm going to have to do something about that. This cannot stay into my 40s. That's for sure. Or else it's just there forever, I think. Is that how that works? It's like you sort of solidify into who you are and who you will be forever. That's what it feels like. I got to get rid of this visceral fat. It doesn't help that a brand new antidepressant I'm taking is making me extremely hungry. So anyway, yeah, senior year, I was, a lot of people don't know this, but I was actually, in my yearbook, I was voted most likely to be a whiny little bitch about everything, you know, and I was so introverted that I was voted most likely to eat alone at a Buffalo Wild Wings. And you know what? That's exactly what I did. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I went to a Buffalo Wild Wings by myself, and I don't think they ever anticipated anybody going to a Buffalo Wild Wings by themselves. Especially, I was like 28, 29 when I went. I feel like I wasn't supposed to be there by myself, and nobody was. And so I was just standing there for like a long time, and no one came to help me, because I guess they thought I was waiting for other people, because who goes to a Buffalo Wild Wings by myself, but by themselves? But that's what I did. I went to a Buffalo Wild Wings by myself. It was in Burbank. It was good. I was waiting there for a while, and they said, "Are you waiting for anybody?" And I said no. And then I guess they took out their calculator, did a couple calculations, and came up with, oh, he can eat here even though he's by himself. And that's what happened. I ate there. I don't even remember what I had. I just know that I ate there alone. In Burbank. My God, Burbank. Burbank. No smoking allowed in Burbank. Did you know that? Burbank, California? God, Burbank. What was I even doing in the valley? How little self-respect did I have that I was actually eating at Buffalo Wild Wings in the valley? I had more hair, but I had way less self-respect than I do now. That was a rough time, my late 20s. It's a rough time now, but I don't know. I've kind of stopped giving a shit anyway. So yeah, most likely to eat by himself at a Buffalo Wild Wings. That's a real thing in my yearbook. I didn't make it up for the sake of doing a stand-up routine or anything like that. But I had some wings recently, and they were in my fridge. I opened my fridge, and there were some fruit flies on them. That's not good. I don't know. I feel like as far as insects that are going to bother you, fruit flies are like the best option. You know what I mean? They're like the best option because they don't care about you. A mosquito wants your blood. A spider will bite you. A fruit fly is just going to be like, hey, man. They're like stoners. Hey, man. Are you going to eat that? Because, like, I like chicken tenders. I know you like chicken tenders, but I really like chicken tenders. I like chicken tenders so much that I want to have sex on them. That's how much I like chicken tenders. Then you wave them away. They don't even take offense to the fact that you wave them away. They're just like, all right, fine. I don't care. They're your chicken tenders, you know? I was just asking if you want them. I mean, my sister once had, like, fleas. She had fleas. She doesn't have a dog. She doesn't have a pet or anything like that, but she had fleas, and the look of like she looked like she hadn't slept for like a week. The look of terror on her face when she was just trying to explain to me how she had fleas, and she was just like, "Oh, I can't, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do." Meanwhile, I'm just like, "Oh, my fruit flies, they just chill." You know, I had to get rid of them anyway. I had to have fruit fly traps. But even that, they're just like, "Oh, there's food here. Okay." And they drown in, "This is delicious." Oh, this is the most delicious way to die ever. If you're going to have an infestation, I don't recommend having an infestation, but if you're going to have one, fruit flies. Absolutely. When I was in college, I left some potatoes in a cupboard for like 4 months. Not good. And I don't know if it was fruit flies, but it was some kind of very chill insect that got a hold of him and started making a colony on him. Because when I went to open this cupboard where it was just potatoes and nothing else, none of the insects flew out like, oh my God, I'm free. They flew out like, oh, there's more to this world than I realized. Wow, this is awesome. They just kind of started buzzing around and looking around. They're like, oh, who's this giant in front of us? Well, whatever, we'll just fly around him. And that's how it's crazy how not all insects are created equal. Some insects are just chill. They're just chill. They're just like, I'm just just hungry, man. I don't want to bother you. You just happen to be here. I felt bad having to kill fruit flies because it was my fault that they were there in the first place. Spiders, mosquitoes, they're like, we want to bite you. We want to suck your blood, whatever. But fruit flies are just like, well, you're the one who had the food out. What are we supposed to do? We're hungry. And I want to have sex on your chicken tenders. And I want to give birth to my family on your chicken tenders. Yeah. Am I a white person? I'm Jewish. Does that mean I'm not white? I don't know. Am I white? Am I not white? I don't know. Someone at an open mic once told me that I wasn't white. Actually, he asked me if I was Latino. I guess the lighting wasn't very good because look at me. Am I Latino? Do I look Latino at all? No, I do not. I ain't Latino. He said, "Are you Latino?" I'm like, I'm a white Jewish man. And he said, I thought Hitler said, if you're Jewish, you can't be white. And I was like, well, I guess that depends on whether or not you agree with Adolf Hitler or not. You don't necessarily have to take the guy at his word. Just because he said some things doesn't automatically make them true, although a lot of people felt as though they were very true, so much so that they plunged all of Europe into total chaos for 6 years. But yeah, so I guess I'm not white, given that I'm Jewish, but I have all the benefits of looking like a white person without any of the guilt of actually being a white person. And that, to me, makes me feel incredibly fortunate. That's a very special place to occupy, is to look white, but to have no white guilt whatsoever because I'm not actually white, even though I burn like I'm from Scandinavia. What was it Louis C.K. said? He said, oh, I'm a redhead, so instead of getting a tan, I burst into flames. Obviously, I'm not a redhead. What do you say for a male? You don't say you're a brunette if you're a male. What do you say? Well, it doesn't matter what I am now because there's no hair on my head anyway. If the hair grows out, it is brown, and it was brown. Anyway, I guess I'm lucky that I'm a white presenting. I'm white presenting. There we go. Like people who are male and female presenting, I'm white presenting, but in reality, I'm not white at all, and that makes me lucky in that sense. I don't consider myself lucky in other senses. I consider myself luck adjacent. Like for example, I was walking my dog, really my parents' dog, one day. This is her in the photos. She passed away recently, unfortunately. But she lived almost 17. It was fine. She had a good life. Anyway, I was walking her one day, and I don't consider myself lucky, just luck adjacent, because I was walking her one day, and she took a dump on a 4-leaf clover. I've never picked a 4-leaf clover, but I've seen a dog take a dump on one, and that's how I consider myself luck adjacent. Speaking of Judaism, though, and God in general, I feel like the whole priest class, whatever religion, priests, pastors, rabbis, imams, whatever, I feel like they're God's lawyers. You know what I mean? What do I mean? You know what I mean? Who are you? There's nobody here listening to this. Anyway, I feel like they're God's lawyers in that some little kid will go up to the priest and say, Father, I don't know the terminology for in Christianity, Father, why do bad things happen to good people? And then like any good lawyer, the priest, the father, whatever, turns to God, and like any good lawyer, he says, you don't have to answer that question. And then the priest turns back to the kid and goes, God works in mysterious ways. And that's how it works. That's how we interface with God, is his lawyers come out to say, we represent God, and he has no further comments at the moment, and nor will he ever have any further comments. Forever and ever. Amen. What even is God, though? Can there really be a God if I went bald? I don't think so. Like, I lost my faith. I didn't have faith, but I lost it the moment my hair started falling out like 15 years ago. Oh, I'm bald? There's no God. Oh, I went bald? Yeah, there's no God. Absolutely not. No way. How can I be bald, but my 73-year-old dad still have his hair? There is no God, obviously, if that is a possibility. Clearly, there is no God. Oh, my God. My God. God, the bags under my eyes are just getting worse and worse. I have my mom's eye bags, and I have my dad's sleep apnea. I certainly don't have their hair, that's for sure. I didn't inherit that from any of them. It just skipped a generation. I'm sure if I have kids, they'll have hair. So why is it that my parents had hair and then created a person who didn't have hair, and then I'll create people who do have hair? Why is it that I can't just have hair? It's ridiculous. It's funny now. It was awful in my 20s when I was like, oh, I guess I'm just doomed forever. I'm still doomed. I just don't give a shit anymore because, again, as we established, there is no God because I'm bald. I read an article that said whales can speak a very, complex language, which is wild to me. I didn't really know other animals could communicate like that. Like, apparently sperm whales are so loud that if you're, next to them when they make noises, it could kill you, or at the very least blow out your eardrums while you're underwater. Apparently, they can speak incredibly complex languages with all the different or whatever noises they make. I don't know. What am I supposed to be good at whale impressions? Come on. But what if someday scientists do finally figure out what whales are saying, and then it's, being printed out? Oh my God. Here's their language, and it just says 6, 7, Riz over and over again. And the scientists are like, oh no, TikTok brain rot has reached the whales. And that's how we know that global warming is happening, is because TikTok brain rot has reached the fucking humpback whales, or whatever the stupid whales are. How do they talk? I don't know. I bet you the whales just speak a very, very extremely slow version of Spanish. What if that was it? Like, you speed it up and realize they just have a Chicano accent or something like that. I don't know. I went to Starbucks a while ago. Cue dramatic music, cue sad music. I went to Starbucks and I saw they had a new item, which if you're keeping track of, that's a new thing they have. They didn't have that before. If you're keeping track of that, your life is effectively over. I am willing to acknowledge that my life is. Okay? They have a new chicken, frittata pocket. What even is a pocket? There's a hot pocket, but that's not food. Why would you advertise having a pocket? It's a new item. It's a falafel pocket, because to me, a pocket, I don't think of a pocket as food. A pocket to me sounds like a tear in the space-time continuum. It's like if I'm standing right here and there's a little pocket in front of me, this right here, there's just a tear in the space-time continuum. And then, I don't know, I put my mouth on it, and then I suck in and a falafel enters my mouth. Someone at Starbucks just placed it right there in the middle of the air. The pocket sort of absorbed it and disappeared until I went and put my mouth on it, and then the falafel entered my mouth. That to me is what a pocket is. But anyway, I went to Starbucks and I was like, yeah, I'll have the flaky croissant chicken pocket frittata thing. And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, we're out of those. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I felt so horrible because it meant other people, I was doing exactly what other people were doing. I was giving in to, there's a new item that they have. There's a new item. I want to try it. I'm sure it won't be trash like literally everything else they have at Starbucks. Literally everything at Starbucks is trash, but I'm sure this new chicken pocket tear in the space-time continuum frittata falafel thing, yeah, no, this is worth trying for sure. So you're like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that. And to me, that was no different than just being like, yeah, I only like you as a friend. I'm sorry, I just don't really see us that way. I only like you as a friend. That's what that felt like to me. Oh, we don't have those anymore. All the other guys are interested in me too, and they already got their fill, and there's no more left for you. Because you're too late. Oh, that was a misogynist thing to say. Whatever, I don't really care. Anyway, I think that's okay for a first time doing it by myself. I don't know. I'm just ranting about nothing. I have nothing else to talk about anymore. How do you have things to talk about if you don't live an interesting life? That's my problem. That is my problem. I don't live an interesting life. I don't see people. I don't do anything. How am I supposed to have anything to talk about? This is on you, America. This is your fault. It's not my fault. All right, that was This Is Unusable solo episode. Thank you very much for watching and or listening. I've been Ben Steinberg. I hope the audio was okay and that there wasn't too much sibilance, but if there was, whatever, fuck it.